So, what really happens when we die? In this episode, I sit down with life coach Jim Pehkonen, who had a near death experience after a devastating accident in 2025. What he experienced during those moments changed the way he sees life, love, and the journey of his soul. His story offers a powerful glimpse into what may be waiting for us on the other side. Welcome to Dial Up Intuition, a podcast that invites you to awaken and expand your intuition. I'm your host, Kat Sanders. I was a radio and television broadcaster before a massive brain hemorrhage caused me to flatline. That life-changing event led to a beautiful near-death experience. And when I came back, I returned with some profound truths and the ability to connect with the other side. In this podcast, we'll explore these truths and learn how to strengthen your intuition and intuitive gifts. You'll hear conversations with remarkable intuitives who'll share how their gifts came alive, evolved, and became part of their daily lives. So whether you're just beginning your intuitive journey or you're ready to go deeper, this is your space to be inspired, guided, and reminded that your intuitive gift was always within you. So let's begin and dial up our intuition together. I am excited today to have Jim Pehkonen as a guest. Jim is a life architect and a certified transformational coach with more than 20 years of experience helping clients heal and grow across a wide range of needs, from trauma and addiction recovery to leadership and team resilience to personal development and life design. He's trained through multiple coaching academies and expanded his approach through unconventional and deep training, including work with Native American spiritual healers and Peruvian indigenous shamanic traditions. And he's also a certified theta practitioner. Now, Jim is here today to talk with us about a personal experience he had just last year. And I'm going to tell you more. I'm going to let him tell you more about that. But he and I share something in common, and that's something really special. We have both had the experience of finding out firsthand what it is to go to the other side. In other words, we have had the privilege to find out what happens when you die. And that's exactly what we want to talk about today. So, Jim, if you would, can you take us back to that day last year when you had your accident and tell us what happened?
Okay, thank you. And for everybody listening, thank you for listening. Yeah, it was June 26th of last year, and I got myself into a bit of a pickle to where there was a freak accident, and I ended up getting crushed between a piece of equipment and a fence. And when it happened, my hand was on the accelerator, and the design of the thing, it just, as my hand went up against my body, it pushed the accelerator to full. And what I thought was the fence breaking, I later learned were my ribs breaking. So it broke my ribs. It lifted me a number of inches off the ground, and it just held me there. I got one help out before my left lung collapsed, and I was hanging there. In my recollection, it was a long time. I would stay between 5 and 10 minutes. And as I was hanging there and looking around, I was just looking at how beautiful everything looked. And then I did almost this warp speed life review where I went and I'm like, you've led an amazing life. And as I look down, it's like, I think you're going to die. Like this thing is just not stopping. And it got to the point that I was looking around, and then all of a sudden, everything went kind of white and starry. And I'm like, this is what death is like. And then as it was getting more intense and it felt like I was losing consciousness, my late father came through and said, it's not your time. And the moment that he finished saying, it's not your time, my eyes opened up. Oh, and I don't even know if they're open or closed before, but I realized I was back against the fence. And in that moment, the machine stopped and I fell to the ground. So, and first I'm like, damn, because I have never experienced that level of just pure heart-centered peace in my life. There was no fear, there was no emotions, there was zero regrets. There was just love. There was just this space of such unconditional love and peace.
And Jim, that is what I hear from people that I speak to that have had that near-death experience that is so consistent, and exactly what I felt when I had my near-death experience is that utter peace, that unconditional love. And you experienced that too?
Yes, absolutely. It was just, there was no regrets.
And do you feel that there was a place where maybe you had that opportunity to continue going and maybe crossing over where your dad said, no, you need to come back? Do you think you had a choice, or was it destined that you needed to continue living?
I believe in free will and I didn't want to die. And I have a friend, and I'll talk about my friend, and the angels came to him once and gave him a choice. And my example was not as overt as his experience. I thought I had messed it up to the point that there was no going back. And I don't, obviously that is not the truth, because the moment he said it's not your time, um, I came back. And I do believe we do have multiple times in our life that we can transition.
Interesting. That's really interesting. When I had my experience, I felt as though I had the opportunity to say, no, I want to stay. But and it was my late father that came to me too and said, you
Oh,
have more to do and you need to go back. So, really interesting that in both of our cases, it was our late father.
yeah,
And when daddy says, nope, you got to stay, you really feel like, okay, then dad, I guess I need
yeah.
to stay.
Guess I need to stay. It
But
got painful really quick.
yes, it did. And when you came back, did you feel a sense? I felt a very heaviness come over me. Did you feel anything like that? Or was there any feeling at all of falling or coming back? Anything like
We
that?
there well there was the feeling of falling, and then there was me actually falling off the fence and onto the ground, but then I could not get up.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I'll just get up and I'll walk in the house and sit down and make sure everything's. So I ended up crawling. And as I crawled, the pain increased. And I actually, like, the first thing I did was I grabbed the phone and I called a friend. I said, hey, he had just gotten off work. I said, I think I hurt myself. I need to go to the hospital. Can you come pick me up? And he's like, yep, be there in 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Which is probably where I live. That would have been quicker than calling an ambulance.
Wow.
But then I called another friend, because the pain. I'm like, I may have screwed up. I may have. This one might be the end. I may be dying.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow. So did you have any maybe regrets once you came back into your body and realized that, you know what, this hurts?
Um, I have never experienced, well, we're coming up on my 12-year anniversary of having a cancer tumor removed. I don't consider that near death, but because of the location of the tumor and the size of the tumor, I had to get all my affairs in order. I had 3 conversations that I may not make it out of the surgery. This one was different. The pain was so intense. And then since my friend took me to the hospital, we couldn't go to the emergency entrance. We had to go to the public entrance. I spent 20 minutes convincing them that I really was a trauma case. I mean, the whole emergency room was full. They then begrudgingly wheeled me down to the trauma center, and they were giving me fentanyl. And by then I was in and the fentanyl wasn't doing anything. They came in, they did a portable x-ray of me, and I'm not kidding, 15 minutes later there were 10 to 12 people in there, and they're like, do you realize what you did? There was a cardiovascular surgeon, there was a general surgeon, there was a thoracic surgeon. There were all of these people, and they were like, do you realize what you did? They're like, and one of them is like, I don't know, you broke 5 ribs. And normally when 5 ribs are broken the way you broke them, they pierce the lungs and you die. We have no idea how you're not dead right now.
They took you seriously then, didn't they?
They were all of a sudden, and I was just, and then they actually gave me morphine. And I have to tell you, I understand. Fentanyl did nothing, absolutely nothing, but the morphine, I was still the pain. It's like it put a damper. And then I'm just reflecting back about, in my eyes, the minute my father said, it's not your time, I'm like, oh, I'm like, this is going to be a lot of pain for a while.
Yes, yes.
And I'm just like part of me, I have no fear of death now, and I want to live a full life. Does that make sense?
I completely understand because again, I have been there. When
Yeah,
I crossed over and I felt that utter, complete, unconditional love, and I did not want to leave.
yeah,
And I saw my father, and I had been missing him so much, and I did not want to leave that place.
right.
And
Exactly. Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
you felt that.
Yeah, because the interesting thing growing up, I used to say, and I had a pretty traumatic, which it's why I'm a life architect. It's why I do the work I do. I had a pretty traumatic childhood. And I used to say, it's not that I hate my parents, just their guts.
Mm,
And and yet when my father passed, we were best of friends. Like he passed less than 2.5 weeks after I saw him last. And the thought of actually spending some more time with him was just beautiful. And
yes.
so when it didn't happen, um, I I was kind of bummed, but
Yeah.
I'm also glad.
Yeah, it's good to have more life experience, more time here, but you long for that, don't you?
Well, yes, I long for I have a great life. And I will say, as a result of this near death experience, my life shifted.
How so?
And well, first off, in 2 days, I'm starting a new men's program for a men's online healing group.
Great.
And the other thing that happened was last fall, I decided that I only want to work with men.
Ah,
And in my coaching practice, I want to assist men to heal. I'm
tell me why.
also,
Tell me why.
because I think in the last 12 to 15 years, men have lost a lot of support around their healing, and men have been demonized for all the problems in the world.
Okay.
I was on a networking event with a person, and I'm like, I'm a men's coach. And this person basically said, she said, what a waste.
Really?
And I was like, wow. And I just moved on. I'm not gonna, I was just like, it shocked me because men experience trauma And older men do not have the freedom to actually seek healing. Because remember, boys don't cry, you know.
Right.
There's all these euphemisms, if you want, if you don't stop crying, I'll give you a reason to cry. Like there's
Yeah.
all these things that happen. And I really think there is a place for men's healing in our world.
And you've
And
found a calling.
right, and it's like the newest website, it's everyguysstory.com. And I would not have met the person that I'm working with. She has the best approach to like any kind of separation and divorce. And I handle the men like that's mine, is because oftentimes if men are sideswiped or betrayed or whatever reason, they tend to be very angry, and anger does not help separation. And one of the things that I got as a result of this experience is a lot more love in my heart,
Yes.
because when you experience a level of peace you've never experienced in the world, you can never go back to what it was before.
Right. And I've heard that again. I've talked to many people now that have had near death experiences, and they really pretty much all come back with something special for them, something that touches them that is different from somebody that, somebody else that had a near death experience, but something they need to do. Something I came back with is I need to let people know that death is not a scary thing. Death is
Oh no.
beautiful.
Oh no.
It is.
Yeah, I have no fear of death, and a big and I want to live.
Yes. Yes, I am really looking forward to death, which sounds awful. But at the same time, I am really excited about living.
Yeah, I
So,
don't
how
I
can you say both of those things is true?
well,
But it
that's what
is true.
I think. Yeah, and for me, I don't have fear of death. And when my time is, I'm completely okay with that. But I have more adventures. Like I look at life is this incredible adventure, and
Yes,
I get to make it be what I want to make it be. And in some sense, I was awoken to the beauty of this life while knowing I'll be taken care of going into the next life.
that's perfectly said. Yes, that's exactly right, because it is such a wonderful, wonderful afterlife.
Oh
And
my gosh,
it's,
right?
I mean, it's so
Well,
beyond what I ever expected. And I
yeah,
know for certain that that's true because I mean, I saw it, I felt it, and I experienced
yeah,
it. I know that
yeah,
it's there. And it was so much love, and not, oh, shame on you, you didn't do this right, or you weren't perfect about this. It was so accepting. And I was connected not only to my late father and all the other people that I felt while I was there. I felt my mother, I felt my grandparents, I felt all the people that had passed, but I also felt the people that were still alive, my husband, my son, my
yeah,
stepdaughter. I felt them too, and I was completely connected. So you get it
yeah,
all. But I also came back understanding how beautiful that the life is that we get here and the
right.
experiences that we
Well,
get here.
and one of the things that I know is we get to create the quality of our experiences here. And I believe they are directly correlated to your karmic lessons and your dharmic lessons. And your attitude creates your altitude in this life. And I didn't, there was no mean white guy in a chair that was going to judge me and send me down to hell. for, for saying that Miss Gamelian, my third grade teacher, was an ogre. Like there was none of that. All I felt was the peace and the love that I felt was so deep. But I mean, like the other thing I know is that if you're listening to this and it feels like you're going to die, you've got to go to the light. Go to the light, because even and this is my belief. So I'm going to
Yes.
share my belief. That doesn't mean it's true or false. It's a belief that I have experienced. Even as we die, we have free will.
Yes.
And you don't have to go to the light. I don't want to talk too much about the way words, but you don't have to go to the light.
Yes.
And yet, when you do, I really think that is where all the people that I'm going to meet will be.
I completely agree. I know that there is a life review. I had a bit of one. I didn't get a full one, but I do. The things that we do in this life, again, my perception of what I experienced. I'm not the expert, but I know what I experienced. You do get a life review. When you do things that harm other people, you do experience that from their perspective, not in a way that spanks you and says you're a bad, bad person, but you do experience so that you learn from it. You do feel that when you do good things in your life that help other people, you do experience that, and that's a wonderful thing. And again, you're not punished, but you experience it, and you're very exposed, you know. So it's a wonderful thing when you do great things in your life. I do believe that, but I don't believe in hell. I did experience just a wonderful, loving acceptance. I didn't, find anything but love and, forgiveness, love, a wonderful connection to absolutely everything. And people should not be afraid ever,
Right,
ever afraid to go into the light.
right.
You must go into the light.
Well, you must. You
You
must, you
must.
must, you must. And we have free will.
Yeah.
Like, and I just, organized religion has bastardized the life that we have that's open to us, or the experience that we have that's open to us once we pass.
Now, did
Now,
I experience a source or God? I did.
yeah,
Did. And it's glorious and beautiful.
yeah,
Was there a light for me to cross over? Yes.
absolutely,
And I
absolutely.
think everybody has. I don't know, did you see a light in your experience? I had a light, and my father appeared in it and stopped me from crossing.
Yeah, everything was, I saw there was sparkling lights and there was a light, and I didn't see, I could just hear my father saying, "It's not your time."
Ah,
And the
yeah,
moment it was not my time, it's like I went back.
yeah,
And the moment I was back, that's when the machine stopped.
yeah, yeah. Now, do you believe, I'm going to switch subjects here before I run out of time on you here. I'd like to drain every ounce of knowledge and
Yeah,
experience from you, but do you believe that we come back in the form of reincarnation? Do you think we
I do.
experience more?
I
Yeah.
do. And here's the thing, before my cancer 12 years ago, I would have said, absolutely not. That's so poo poo. But after my tumor was removed, I went and saw a spiritual healer, and I healed my karmic and my dharmic lesson associated with that cancer. And when that happened, the three primary people that I had karmic agreements with, they are no longer in my life. So I believe, and that doesn't mean, like, I still have a lot more lessons, let me tell you. I really do. I do believe, though, that was a major one for me. the lesson that I cleared up was so major for me
I think you're
that,
right. I
y-
completely
yeah,
agree. We're here for the lessons.
yes, yes. And of the 100 or so planets in the universe where we go to learn and to play in the playground of karma and dharma, this is one of the top 10, one of the more extreme, because not only do we have our lessons, but we have all of the emotions that we have to deal with, and then we have all of the emotions of other people in our lives that we have to deal with. All these things shift us.
Yeah. Yeah. And for us to think that this is the only planet would be pretty
That's
ridiculous.
that's crazy. It's
It would be
just
crazy,
crazy.
but it is here to be a stage for our soul to come into. I still think it's hilarious. My friend that I had on in one of my episodes called it a meat suit
Yep,
for
yep,
us to come into this body and to live a life that allows us to experience emotion, physical touch,
yep,
all of these things, aging, pain, happiness, pleasure, all of these things throughout our lives. And we are little actors on this stage experiencing these things so that our soul can learn and grow and advance. And if we only had one life, we would only learn so many things. And
yep.
we need so many lives to really learn and understand as a soul. So, yeah, we've got to come back time and time. And do we come back in as a female and then a male and as in different parts of the world? Sure,
Absolutely. I
because it's the
think,
only way we can learn.
right. And I think different parts of the world have different levels and stages for our development.
Sure. It only makes sense. And eventually we may graduate to the point where we've learned enough. I know I haven't yet. I wish I could
Yep,
say, gee, I've learned it all, but I'm
yep.
not that good. I'm not that
Yeah.
smart. I think I've got
I'm
more to learn. I know I have more to learn.
I'm just working on everything I need to learn.
Yeah. So I hope that maybe someday I'll graduate and I'll be, completely educated. But in the
I
meantime,
Yeah, in the meantime, here we are.
here we are, learning and experiencing me in a little Cat Sanders suit, and
Yep, yep.
you in a Jim Pehkonen suit.
Exactly. And we have these beautiful experiences and we can share them with people
Right.
because the mythology of death really creates deep levels of fear in people that it shouldn't. It just shouldn't.
Right. I just really want to emphasize to everyone out there, and I think you agree with me after our talk, don't be afraid of death. 100% of
No.
us will die.
Yeah,
And please don't be afraid of it. And when you see that light, because we do, know that someone will come for you to greet you. In both of our cases, it was our father. It isn't always.
it is not
Um,
always, but both of our cases, bam, it was.
it'll be somebody,
It
someone
will be
that loves
somebody
you.
that, yeah, that you love and care about and that cared about you.
Yeah, and they'll come and greet you and help you across, and they'll take you into the light. And that light is beautiful, and it takes you across to the other side. But you
Yeah,
will find peace and love that you cannot even imagine. It
it
is
is
so
nothing like what we experience in this reality.
nothing at all. It's so
Nothing.
beyond what you
Yep,
can imagine.
yep,
So beautiful.
it is beautiful.
Well, we're running out of time, but I want to give you an opportunity. Anything else you can think of that you want to talk to people or tell people about your experience or about what you learned?
Yeah, I mean, I learned that life is to be lived, so live it fully.
Beautiful. So true. I am such a different person since my experience, and I can see that it has affected you in exactly the same way. I love more now. It was such
Yep,
a love fest on the other side.
I so agree with you.
Yeah. Well, it has been such a pleasure having you on, and
Yes.
thank you for your words of wisdom and sharing your experience with us. It has been incredible. Now, you do a lot of healing work, a lot of coaching, especially as you said
Yes.
with
With
men.
men. With men.
Yes. Can you share with us your website or how they can reach you if they want to come to you for coaching?
So for my men's work, it's every guy's GUYS story, STORY.com. For every other coaching, it's amazinglifedesign.com. And my name is Jim Pehkonen. And as a life architect, my life is here to create a space for healing for those that I interact with. That is simply who I am.
Great. So if you want to get a hold of Jim, again, say it one more time. Just say the websites.
It's everyguysstory.com or amazinglifedesign.com.
Perfect. Now you know how to reach him. And again, I thank you for coming in. It has been wonderful. And I absolutely appreciate you sharing your personal story with us. And let's hope that we've helped some people to
Yes,
not be afraid. And if they've lost a loved one or are in the process of having someone that's ill, they're not not as upset about the actual process of what happens because they know now that it is absolutely a beautiful process or crossover because it takes you to such an incredible, beautiful place. So
so
again,
beautiful. And thank you for listening, everybody.